power. Full moon in Scorpio is power. It's the 8th house. This is a very deep, emotional, intense energy when we are in the sign of Scorpio. Full moons rule our emotions. It's the divine feminine energy. Now, I pulled this card. I tapped into the energy as I always do before I come on camera. And this card stood out amongst all of the cards that fell out. I am feeling a very auspicious, beautiful energy, liberating energy with this full moon, by the way, guys. Even though my voice might come over very deep and serious, because I feel like this is a serious energy that we're in. But it's on the opposite side of this. It's liberation. It's liberating us. And it's going to illuminate. And we've already been feeling this week leading up to it especially. And it's been triggered by, for me anyway, I feel intuitively, it's been triggered a few weeks ago when we had the Pluto, or 10 days ago, wherever it was, Pluto and Mars. Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio along with Mars. Now, Pluto is a feminine energy, Mars is a masculine. So there's some power dynamics that want to come and set us free. Some power struggles. These have been coming up as conflicts within people, places and things. It might have been coming up as a fear. Most certainly a very psychological, deep wound. Because this is what Scorpio rules. Pluto is the planet of rebirth, death and rebirth. Pluto is the lord of the underworld. And I've had this card out for the last few weeks to honour that. This is Osiris, Lord of the Dead. And this card says something wants to come up for a proper burial for your freedom. And I think this encapsulates this full moon and the energy we're currently in perfectly. So if it feels emotionally weird, strange, the answers don't lie externally. This is an internal emotion that's buried so deep within you, where you've given your power away. Now this, again, it is more certainly coming up in dynamics, but this is wanting you to take your power back in a situation, in your thoughts, your feelings, your actions. Because Mars, I mean, is a core ruler of Scorpio. Mars is fire. Mars is drive, action. But if you're moving forward in an old masculine wound, you're going to be moving forward with an egotistical motivation that's driving this. And Mars is currently, so it all links together. Astrology, if you think of it like astrology as our community in the stars, in the sky, they all connect with one another. All the planets connect with one another. They're having conversations, just like we do here on planet Earth. We have interactions, we have unions, they call it conjunctions, which just means two planets coming together very tightly to intermingle each other and work with each other's energy. We call it relationships. So it's a similar kind of dynamic going on up in the sky, but it's reflecting upon us because we're all connected. So this is where we can use these big astrological energies to transform our world and to make some kind of sense. So again, going back to Pluto and Mars. Pluto rules the sign of Scorpio along with its core ruler Mars. So these are what are going to be highlighted in this full moon. So what's been illuminated with full moon to do with your intense feelings, Scorpio, related to Pluto and Mars, related to power struggles, internal dialogue, emotional power, emotional fears. So when that Pluto and Mars came together a couple of weeks ago, it was an opposition and it was trying to set us free. So bear with me. Pluto is just gone into, November, into the sign of Aquarius for the next 20 years. So Pluto transforms, but we have to see something to transform it. We have to feel something to transform it. In the sign of Aquarius, that is freedom seeking. It is being different. It is figuring out who you are. So Mars, going back to Mars energy, is currently in the sign of Leo, and it was in the sign of Leo when it had this big clash in the sky, this opposition with Pluto. So there's some dynamics that's coming up with this full moon, because Pluto's the ruler, that wants to highlight. So things might have been churning in your world to do with your Mars, Pluto, ego, that's Leo energy, to do with some kind of fears that keep you in a defensive masculine. I'll get there in the end, guys, just bear with me. It wants to break us free. It wants to break us free, but this has been rising within us. Emotionally rising. So this can be an external dialogue. You might have even had paranoia, self-doubt, self-worth issues. You might have had power dynamics within relationships. But there's something coming to a head with this full moon, Monday the 12th. And here she is. This is, as I say, it's my new deck, Queen of the Sun Oracle. And she is holding the power. And it also, she looks very much like Whitney Houston, doesn't it, on here? It's beautiful energy, if you can see that, that energy, guys. So that's the energy I'm feeling. It's intense, it's deep, it's emotional, but I'm also feeling joy with this energy. And that's the Leo energy. So the opposite side, if you get, I'm getting carried away. This is the fire within me. Leo energy is the opposite sign of Aquarius. Pluto's currently in Aquarius doing a 20-year stint. So for the next 20 years, we're going to be battling and trying to get the balance between Aquarius and Leo. Doesn't matter whether you are an Aquarius or Leo. These are the things we're trying to get into balance for the next 20 years. Because Pluto transforms. So he's transforming parts of us to do with our ego, to do with being free, to do with feeling okay with being the black sheep, which is Aquarius. And I know this is a bit higgledy-piggledy, but I'm just going with it, guys. These are how my readings work. It's like a book. It's like a story. And I hope you can keep up with this story. So a personal issue reaches resolution. So this is saying to me there's some kind of Cancer-related energies, because this is Cancer card, to do with, so I'll tell you what the Cancer traits are. It's home, childhood, family, your tribe, who you feel safe with. This is what's coming up. So I'm going back to, and I also use my intuition, guys. So I use my cards, I use my intuition, I use my astrology knowledge that I have and I trust. And this is saying to me there's some ancestral, maternal, lineage fears that are coming up. Now I also want to bring in, and I got my cards out specifically for this, Black Moon Lilith. She's having a big impact in the sky right now. Now Lilith is just an asteroid in the sky. It's not a planet, but it does have a big implication, as many asteroids do that we know about. Again, shining its light on here on planet Earth to try and teach us. Now Lilith is the scorned feminine. With a man or woman, we have a resentment, anger, fear going on with a Lilith energy. She's currently in Scorpio. She's doing a 9-month stint in Scorpio. So she's going to be connecting with this Scorpio full moon to really dig deep into our feminine connections. Again, don't get caught up in the gender. This is whether you're a man or a woman, we are feeling some deep wounds. So the Scorpio full moon is very much linked to the Scorpionic energy, which is intuition. Scorpio is a water sign. It rules our emotions. These are deep emotions, as I've mentioned. It is classed as the psychology, the psychological planet, the zodiac. It's a psychologist. It's where we can hold very deep secrets and we might not even be conscious of them. So you're thinking, well, how can I work with them? But you'll feel them. And this is saying go in and feel. Go in and feel, because this is within you, where it wants for you to be and stand in your power and release something where you haven't felt people around you have been loyal, because Scorpio energy is loyalty. But it's also on the opposite side of that. It doesn't trust if it's been hurt in the past. So we can hold a deep subconscious wound of not trusting. Now, I'm 9 minutes in, guys, and I haven't pulled many cards, so I'm mindful of that. But I just wanted to give you what I was feeling with this intensity. But the intense emotions are going to turn into joy. That's the message I was getting. So we're going to be set free. Yeah, there's a bigger picture that we're needing to see. So I'm going to pull a couple of these Moonology cards and I'll go into a few tarot. And I'm going to finish with an oracle card. So stay tuned till the end, because that's going to give us a message that we need to hear right now. Okay, three Moonology cards. You're good enough. There's the good enough wound. Good enough for love, good enough for money, good enough for a happy ever after, good enough for a good tribe. Remember the Cancer energies I was speaking about earlier. You're worthy of having support, emotional support, equal give and take. Remember trust. Scorpio is about trust or distrust. And you might have a deep wound about that energy. I've been feeling that. Envy, jealousy. It's all been coming up. But remember, this is within you. But people around you are there to show you where this emotional wound that Pluto wants to break you free from. There's also a connection to Mercury this week and in this full moon. So Mercury is communication, our mind. And if we go back to Mars in Leo, that's going to be, if our heart's closed down and defensive, we're going to react, Mercury. We're going to speak, Mercury, from the wounded, defensive, masculine. So just be mindful of that. Whatever's been coming up, the more you can work and flow through this emotion, because you'll have been feeling it. Everybody will have been feeling it this week. Something there that doesn't feel quite right. But that is a wound within you that's needing to be broken free from. So if you are working with this energy and mindful of it, this is where you are going to react differently with this full moon. And it might be a good enough wound. Communication is key. There's that communication I was speaking about. Meditate and contemplate. This is the way, and the only way with Scorpio is to go within. So this means quieting, solitude, especially this weekend when we're at intensity. I always feel that the full moon energy is more intense leading up. I know a lot of people say a few days before, a few days after, you can feel it. Yes, most certainly you can. But I always feel it's all more powerful as it's leading up. And even as much as a week. So the week leading up to this full moon on Monday the 12th is going to be emotionally charged for us to see. So when the illumination, the big spotlight of the moon, shines its peak, we already know what this is. And how we're going to do that, we're going to have to quieten our mind, meditate and contemplate leading up to this, because it's a time for healing. It's a time for healing. There's something that is really not wanting to go forward into this rebirth. Remember, Scorpio is about rebirth, death and rebirth. Somebody wants to die, then the healing, then the rebirth. There he is. I knew the Leo energy was coming in. It's been coming in so strong these last couple of weeks. Don't let pride get in your way. So again, going back to that old ego, defensiveness. So where you've found that trigger in your solar plexus, where you've felt, something's just not feeling right, it's because it isn't. Because there's a wound that you need to see and heal, or it's your intuition trying to tell you something. But ultimately, the solar plexus and the heart is what Leo govern in your body. So if your heart, you're not listening from your heart, you're listening to your head, and you're reacting out of a fear, then you're going to react with ego, with unhealthy ego. Your ego wants to keep you safe, but that's more coming from your mind. Dropping into your heart, you're going to find some kind of peace with yourself, but you have to find that peace within yourself first. In order for that to be healed, it has to be seen. Big energy here. The mind is really coming into play here because we've got another Gemini. The answers you need are coming, and it wants you to believe in the impossible. And again, here's that card, Cancer energy. This time it's a different card. It says, you and a loved one are safe. Where have you got an old wound where you didn't feel good enough to be loved, to be nurtured, to be supported? Where might you fear betrayal, distrust, dishonesty? with your close members. Remember, Cancer is home, children, family. This is your tribe, your union with the people that who you're supposed to love, and they're supposed to love you. But where might have this been tainted? Where have you give your power away in a codependency relationship? Meaning, where did you feel not good enough? So you overcompensated in relationships. Where might this be coming up now? Or on the opposite side of this, where are you holding back from a relationship and committing? Now, that relationship doesn't have to be two people. This could be things, your passions, your dreams, your desires. Scorpio is an intense energy. It is desirable. It rules your sexual organs, the sexual alchemy, our passion, our drive, our motivation. It's the root chakra energy. And if this is blocked and it's coming from a very controlling energy, which Scorpio can be a very controlling sign, if it feels unsafe. Now remember, reflect this in your relationships, because everything is a projection. Where are you needing to set yourself free? Why are you attracting this kind of energy into your world? Ask all these deep questions. But you're already going to be aware of it, guys. And it's a matter of facing fears, shadows. Scorpio is the shadow. Let's get into the tarot. I'm going to pull 3 cards for the Scorpio full moon. If you are liking this video and you are liking the way I deliver these messages, please do subscribe, share, comment. I love to read the comments and I do interact with them. The nice ones. Don't be in your ego. I only take unegotistical comments. I leave the rest behind because I don't want to. I want to be in my power, and I have my power to ignore them. That might be a message in itself. We've pulled here 2 cards and the water. Where have you been stuck? Because we have the Knight of Pentacles at the bottom, out of a fear of something. Where's your life not fulfilling you? Relationships, projects, work, body, the relationship you have with yourself. Where is something stuck? Out of a stubborn, because Scorpio is a stubborn sign, a fixed sign, if I wanted to be more pleasant. Where are you in a stubborn energy? Remember, look at this card here. This is Moon in Cancer. So this Cancer is very strong. And childhood is very strong because we pulled the page. In tarot, it is Page, Knight, King. Goes up in the hierarchical. So this is an immature energy. This is at the beginning, a young energy. So yes, most certainly can relate to childhood emotions, but it also can relate to immature emotions in adults. In you, even. Remember, everything is a projection. Where are you needing to unfold your arms across your heart, where you've been protecting yourself, and let in this 4th cup? 4s are about stability. Cups are emotions. Where have you not felt? In your past, right now, not safe. Not safe with your emotions, not safe with some kind of situation that might be holding you back and keeping you stuck, keeping you in this deceptive energy, your heart being closed down from receiving the joy, happiness, abundance. Remember, I was feeling joy. In intense emotions wants to be broken free in order for you to feel joy. Now remember, when we close our heart down, that big Leo lion closing his heart down in pride, no, nobody's getting in and nothing's getting out, I'm protecting myself. It's the lion round his cubs in the jungle. Do the lions live in the jungle? Wherever they live. And it is always looking out for predators. So it can never relax. It's always in that masculine. It's always in that masculine, no, worst case scenario, and I'm going to protect my cubs, and I can't relax, I can't settle, I can't enjoy life, can't even enjoy my own cubs, because I'm always on the lookout. Okay. Where are you working from a place of fear? Let's have a look. One final tarot card. There's that joy. You're going to do this, but it might be intense in order for you to see it, because this is a deep subconscious wound, remember. This is a deep subconscious pattern. This is a deep subconscious habit. So it might take this full moon for something to happen, especially leading up to it, where you think, now I know where it is. In order for us to heal, it has to be revealed. But you're going to be successful. And this is a card of Mercury in Cancer. So Mercury, again, I've mentioned, is connected to this full moon, is about our communication, how we speak. But in Cancer, it's home, children, family, our tribe. And they've got 3 women here. So most certainly feminine dynamics is coming up. Where do you want to trust somebody but you can't? Where do you feel, yes, I want this connection but I can't? What if? Stab me in the back. Honour these emotions. They want to flow. Scorpio is water, it wants to flow. Okay, I'm going to end the reading now with an oracle card, and I'm going to bring in Black Moon Lilith. And I want her to, remember Black Moon Lilith's in the sign of Scorpio, so she's going to be activated with this full moon in Scorpio. Black Moon Lilith, the scorned feminine. Okay. Bottom of the deck. I always do bottom and I always do the top. So I'm going to do the bottom first. North Node energy. Now the nodes of the moon, they are placements, so they're not actually any planets, but a position around the moon that represent our fate and our destiny. South Node is our karma. North Node is our destiny, what we're stepping into. Now, this is saying the nodes of the moon, release, clear and align. So right now we are releasing some old karmic energy, and I'm drawn to the South Node here. Something came up on March the 14th because we had an eclipse in Virgo. That's currently where the South Node is, in the sign of Virgo. And eclipse energies last for a few months after. Now, what, March, April, May. So this is 2 months in, down the line. So any moons following it are going to be more intense because they're still connected to this eclipse energy. And with this full moon being about eclipsing, about death and rebirth, about facing our shadow and releasing something once and for all, I feel like that Virgo full moon brought something in to do with not being worthy. Because that's what Virgo can represent. Not being worthy, always being of service to your own detriment, where you've been told that you have to do in order for you to feel rewarded, to your own detriment. Virgo's also daily habits. What we commit to, our daily duties, our responsibilities. Virgo's an earth sign. She's very practical, she's very diligent. It might be that you are committing too many things and you are not being able to give your time and your love to the things that you desire. Like fun, like joy, like happiness, appreciation for your daily things, because you're too focused on juggling and keeping all these plates spinning. And this full moon might come in and set you free from some old burdens where you've now released, you've worked through the karma. Remember, this is karma, fate and destiny. And that's where the South Node is right now. So this might be relating to Virgonian kind of traits, things that I've just mentioned. Because this saying, you deserve balance. This is Libra. Libra is ruled by Venus. Libra is our close relationships. Venus is a feminine energy. She knows her worth and value. She's still in her shadow period because, let me explain. Planets go into a retrograde phase. Venus has just come out of one. Now, retrograde simply means reviewing, releasing and reflecting and coming out transformed. So they do their own little mini transformation every now and again just to check in with themselves. Venus is our feminine, how we receive love. What are we worthy of? So she's been doing a deep dive. Now she's still in her shadow, meaning she's still covering old territory that she went over in her retrograde period. And she was there for about 8 weeks. So we've been going over all things to do with our worth and our value, to do with feminine energy, how we receive love, how we give love, the dynamics of Libra. So Libra can be renowned for being a people pleaser. But that's out of a fear of rejection or abandonment, to feel like they need to fit in. They forget who they are in that process. And whilst Venus has been in retrograde, she might have undergone, I know who I am now. So these are coming out with this full moon in Scorpio to liberate you from something, but you have to see it first. Okay, I'm going to read the energy of this Black Moon Lilith in Libra. Now remember, this relationship that we have with others, it's also the relationship we have with ourselves. So where have relationships been reflecting parts of you that have been hidden, parts of fears that have been hidden? So this says relationships are a delicate balance. The Black Moon Lilith in Libra indicates the resolution starts within you. You may currently be experiencing power struggles, that's Scorpio, with others, and it's up to you to change if you want to break the cycle. Black Moon Lilith in Libra can create feminine shadow around relationships, which is balance and love and beauty. Venus is the planetary ruler of Libra and evokes the energy of fertility goddess and of ancient Rome. She symbolises the scales. Libra represents balance, duality, and the dynamics within relationships. When Black Moon Lilith is in the sign of Libra, your relationships can feel karmic, and discord can ensue. Ah, wow, okay. Singer Whitney Houston had Black Moon Lilith in Libra in her 8th house of death and addiction, which manifested through a tumultuous marriage with Bobby Brown. Codependency or unequal relationships create inattention, leaving you feeling unworthy. You may be hyper-aware of your physical appearance, feeling the drive to fight for justice and equality in the world. Do not allow others to dominate you. This is the power struggle with Scorpio. Instead, aim for them to complement and balance you. Now remember, this is where we struggle. As a human race, when we have been used to being in this defensive masculine, I'm not reading from the book, guys, this is my interpretation. We are leading from our masculine and our feminine gets suppressed. So we naturally don't trust because we're always defensive. We're always ready for that fight or flight, that survival. So we're now rebirthing this. It wants us to trust again, but we need to go in and trust ourselves. And the feminine energy is our intuition, and that's our greatest sat-nav. That is our greatest compass. That is our greatest feeling. Because we feel. We should be feeling more rather than just doing. So I'm going back to the book now. So this is saying release judgment around beauty and indulging in self-care. And this goes into the beautiful side of the feminine. But it goes beyond that. It goes into this connecting back to your body, who you really are. Now, peace and harmony with others are resolved within. Don't deplete yourself by giving away from an empty cup. So anything that comes up, especially if there's any conflict coming up, step back. Look at it, what it's teaching you. Now, this is the highest expression. You might use this energy. Look at what it's teaching you. Release it, clear it, and then you'll align with your real tribe. And if the other people do the same, then you've aligned. If they don't, you deserve balance. Now, I'm going back to Whitney Houston. I'm going to tell you a bit of a story. I've really been drawn to a lot of solitude this week. A lot of solitude where I felt really uncomfortable, where it's just debilitated me. And I'm a fire sign, so I need action. So I've been fighting with my masculine and feminine energy. A lot of intuitive downloads have been coming in. So if it's been happening to you guys, go with it. because it wants you to go more into the feminine. And I think this is the message that's coming over with this Scorpio full moon. Slow down. Your judgment within, your judgment on always doing, first and foremost, is coming up. Why we've always felt the need that we have to do in order for us to feel worthy. I think that's most certainly this energy here where we've not trusted. We've always been in the masculine because we've always been disconnected from our intuition. And if we were more in tune with our intuition and who we knew ourselves to be, we would have less conflict because we would be more aligned with people. But that's something we're working on as a human race, I feel. But also, going back to Whitney Houston, she's been in my peripheral. She's been in my intuition. And her songs, I've looked at her lyrics. And I was looking at her documentaries, because when something gets hold of me, very scorpionic, I look into it very deeply. I commit myself to my role in this life, and I trust my intuition. So when things come to my awareness, I'll go off on a little bit of a tangent to figure out what it is that's teaching me or wanting me to see. So Whitney Houston was an absolutely beautiful singer. She was so powerful in her words. But one of her messages that she gave over into an interview was, now forgive me if the words aren't correct, but she was asked, did success change you? And she said, no, success didn't, but fame did. And in this business, you've got to know who you really are before you get carried by big personalities. Now, she didn't say all of this. This is me just filling the blanks. By big personalities, by big egos, by fame. If you don't know who you are, you can turn into somebody you don't really like. So what is driving you is, I'm saying, what is driving you, your ego or your heart and your passion? If it's your ego, it might be a fear-based energy of doing things out of lack, out of fear of rejection, fear of trying to fit in. Now, there's been lots of other things coming in with Whitney, and I'm sitting with her energy, but yeah, she does really look like Whitney Houston, doesn't she? But it's profound. Oh, and another thing. Leo energy has been predominant for me for the last, crikey, know how many weeks. And when I looked at Whitney's natal chart, yes, I know I'm a geek. I looked at her natal chart, and she's a Leo. So yes, and I'm sure, I don't watch much TV, but I'm sure something came up on my Instagram feed that the new Pope, is he called Leo? Please comment if it's not. I don't take much notice of the mainstream media, but I just thought that was fascinating. And Leo is the solar plexus. Leo is ruled by the sun. That's our power. That's our sun sign. Who is our identity? Our sun sign is our identity. Who we are made and born to be. When we've mastered that, our life will feel so much easier. Ease and grace, joy. And I feel like this is what's coming in, guys. Joy is coming. Release what's not yours. Release the old identities you've been carrying. And take good care.